everyone. Thank you for coming for chocolate. My name is Bridget. I'm an e-learning advisor in the Faculty of Arts, and today I just wanted to run a few, basically a day about trying to let people know about how they can mark online or use eAssessment. And there's a variety of sessions running today. The first one will be with Gareth Pritchard. We'll take the approach of interview style. I'm more than happy to take questions after as well. It will be fairly short presentation, and then at 11 o'clock we'll have Pam Papadelis speaking, and then we also have a student speaking, and then we have other things. Anyway, you can stay for as long as you want, and you can leave whenever you want as well, of course. So we might start with Gareth. I've been working with Gareth for a little bit, and he is known as a legendary lecturer to his students. So he's already using amazing, I think, teaching ways and in his courses. But we've started using some online things. So basically, my first question to Gareth is, why did you take up eMarking?
There were two reasons why I decided to take the plunge and start marking online. The first was because I was having major problems in terms of getting the work from students. Because up until now, we've been asking students to submit to two drop boxes. They were submitting to Turnitin, but also to the print center. And what I was finding was that some students were submitting to one, but not the other. Some students were submitting to both, but one submission would be before the deadline, and the other submission would be after the deadline. And this was creating a lot of problems, particularly because my courses are quite large, 200, 250 students, so this was quite time-consuming. The second reason I decided to do it was in terms of getting the work back to students, because however I was doing it, it was taking a lot of time and wasn't very efficient, and now I don't have to worry about that at all. The students can just go online and see what I've done.
So what were you doing, well, you already mentioned that, but what were you doing prior to actually marking online, so actually doing the marking yourself?
What I was doing before was marking. You really are going to laugh now because it was quite silly. I was marking online. Sorry, I was marking in hard copy and making lots of little notes on the side of the paper. What I would then do is type up some general comments. I would then scan the whole lot and send the scan back to the students as an email attachment. Well, not much. That's 250. Well, I didn't have to do all of them, but quite a lot. The reason I was doing it that way was because I was finding the problem of physically returning to the essays to the students in tutorials very time-consuming, and arranging to meet them outside the tutorials was also very time-consuming. So I decided just to scan, and that was even more time-consuming. And now I don't have to worry about any of that.
Excellent. So what led you to trying this new marking regime, eMarking? What led you to do it, apart from what you've already said? Was there any other, because you talked about the comments that you've used? I guess I'm leading this question because I know the answer.
Right.
Because you write some excellent comments that you already had in a very good format.
I see, right. What I'd done before was created a little bank in a Word document of comments that I have to make over and over again. The difference between a colon and a semicolon is blah, blah, blah. Your use of evidence here is inadequate for these reasons. So I was finding that I was making the same comments over and over again, so I created a little bank in a Word document which I could then just cut and paste into the comments that I was making for students. But then when Brigitte explained to me how marking online works, I realized that it would be possible to incorporate all this in the program that I was using, so that at a click of the mouse I can import these comments directly into the document I'm working on. And that is...
What program are you using, Gareth?
Turnitin.
It's not just Turnitin, that's possible, that's why I'm asking the question. So,
oh, I see, I didn't know that.
Yes, so there's other options available at the
Okay.
So
Yes.
Turnitin allows you to put comments in that you've created, and you can use them over and over and over again.
Somebody said in the Turnitin that you can't, I don't need to do it, but you can't actually add PDF documents to it. One of my colleagues was saying that he found that problem with Turnitin. Is that true?
You mean upload them, submission? No, that's not true.
It's
PDFs
not
is
necessarily a good idea because you want the word count is not very good in Turnitin. So you want to be able to go back to their Word document and check the
Oh, okay. That leads me very nicely, thanks, Wayne, to another question, because of course I want to hear about how good it is, but also what are the problems that you may have experienced that have changed maybe the way you do things, or that you'd like to share with people. So.
Before I answer that question, I would like to make it clear that my experience of using this technology has been overwhelmingly positive. I went into it as a skeptic. I'd been delaying doing this for a long, long time. I eventually decided to give it a go, and I've found it very easy to use, quite intuitive, and it saved me time the first time round. I've only done it once. I encountered no major problems, and I was pleased by the fact that even as a complete novice, I was able to save time. There were some problems I encountered, but these were really quite minor. One problem is with the word count, that can be a bit fiddly in terms of checking it. Another problem I encountered was that when you're actually in the Turnitin program and you're going from one paper to the next automatically, it doesn't tell you if the paper had been submitted late. To do that, you have to remember to go back to the initial screen. Yeah. And I was forgetting to do that. I was just going straight from one to the other, and then discovered that I had not realized that some of this work had been submitted late. Another problem is that sometimes, at least on my computer, it's a bit slow. So when I'm toggling between one screen or another, or when I make a little comment, it can take just 3 or 4 seconds for that to take. It's not a huge problem, it's just a little bit annoying. The biggest single drawback from my point of view is that it is reducing the time I get to spend at the zoo. Because I have a permanent membership ticket, and one of the things I liked to do in the olden days was to take a big stack of essays and go and find a nice place to sit and mark them. Because I don't have a laptop with internet access, I can't do that anymore. And I don't have internet access at home either, so now I'm committed to doing all my marking in my office, which in a way is also kind of a good thing, because I have to be disciplined about it then. I have to do it at work. I can't say, oh, I'm fed up with this, I'll take this pile of essays home with me.
So what some people have done is use the iPad app, which means you can download. We've got some samples here, so if you wanted to have a look at what that looks like, you can have a look. I'll pass this round. Have a look and see what it looks like. These are all just sample assignments. They're total fake documents, so just go your hardest at it if you want to have a look. But one of the nice things about the app is that you can download the papers and go offline and go to the zoo. Of course, that does require you to have an iPad, which I'm not trying to condone here at Apple world, but that unfortunately is currently what the state of play is. In the future, hopefully, it might be something else as well. So I might just pass that around just in case you want to look at that.
2 other benefits that I had not expected were, firstly, because I work with a tutor and we were both working online, it was easier for us to coordinate what we were doing, because I could see what he'd been doing and he could see what I'd been doing, and we could discuss problematic papers, and having them all in one place online just facilitated that process. Something else which I hadn't realized, but which is quite useful, is that the program also tells you if the students have accessed their comments. I'd never thought about that, but that is quite useful to know.
Absolutely.
A surprising number have not.
So all the effort that you might have put in.
So no, I'm
the
not
next assignment, this will be interesting how that reflects.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that knowledge, but it is interesting to know, yes.
Pam will have something to say about that as well. It's something that is really interesting.
Sorry? You threaten them.
No, I encourage them.
You encourage them.
I know. They don't realise that we know. So once they know that you can tell that they've been backed with their comments, it can tell them at least to open the document, whether they read them or not. But I tell them that I know that they haven't seen their comments from last paper because I have evidence.
Yes.
That's a bit of a disadvantage, isn't it? Like you hand the work back physically. This is me kind of being my skeptic, sorry. Hand the work back physically, they're more likely to sit and read it in the 5 minutes that you kind of hand back as they would be. When you've got, your problem is you've got 200 students, I've only got 30, so they're quite a different situation and context.
I can actually tell you too that a lot of assignments never get collected by students. So even if you hand wrote them on there, the students never collect the assignments. Yeah. Yeah. So just because you hand them back doesn't necessarily mean that the student's going to read them. Yeah. One last question. How have the students found it, or is it too early? Have they got their results yet?
Yes, they have. I finished the first round of assessment maybe a fortnight ago, but because we've been on the mid-semester break, I haven't seen the students since they got their work back. I will certainly be asking them about it, but as of yet, I just don't know what the students thought about all this.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Gareth. And
Thank you.
if there are any further questions for Gareth?
I was interested that you said it saved time straight away.
Yeah.
What I actually tell fellow staff members is that there's a bit of an investment in getting all of your bank of comments, but once you've done that, they always make the same mistakes. And
Right. Well, I should perhaps confess there that one of the reasons why I was able to save time straight away was because I'd had a little help in that all my bank of comments, which I'd built up over 10 years, had already been imported into the system. So they were all there just ready to go.
Other people's comments as well. I download my comments to my tutors, for instance.
And that's a really good point. It may cost you a little bit extra time initially, but then you can share your comments with other people as well as your rubrics if you're using a rubric, and that's the other thing that we haven't talked about. But you can share it, so that means that you get a little bit more consistency in the way you're marked as well. And in actual fact, if we want to go even further, we can actually run reports on how people have marked and why maybe students are missing certain information, because every tutor or every marker is pointing out the same flaws, perhaps. So anyway, I will finish this presentation. The next one will start at 11. Please take this opportunity to help yourself to some chocolate. The coffee machine is just right over there in the left-hand corner. Help yourself to some coffee as well. And I hope to see you back here at 11. And please play as well if you want. And if you want some help, there's some people here to help you as well, to have a look at things. And we'll talk about some of the other options available as well.